thousands of dollars of aircraft tools, and I got wooden blocks. Okay, so at this point, I have outfitted my shop, my garage. I've built shelves, I've built a paint booth, I've built countless graining tools. I don't think I can procrastinate or wait any longer. I've had these boxes for 2 months, but wanted to hold off on opening them until I was sure that I was ready. At this point, I think it's time, so I'm gonna get into it. I've only got about an hour in which to do it, but I'll take a peek, and then unfortunately I gotta wrap it up, and I'll probably be gone for, I don't know, 5 days, and then I'll be back at it next week and see how much I can get done. So these are the parts that you're gonna have to cut a lot of on the bandsaw. I can tell already. It's all here from what I can tell. There's a couple pieces still needing to be put away. But this is the majority of the kit, I should say. And so now it's time to just start reading through the instructions, seeing what the first few steps look like, or few dozen steps look like, and then get started. Putting a big radius on the top of this one and the bottom of this one in order to get those to fit right. Instructions are having us basically go from this to this, and I'm using progressively finer sandpaper, and then finally ending with the Scotch-Brite. It feels a little weird to be doing this with aluminum. This seems more like woodworking. It's tedious. Well, I've worked through finer and finer grits of sandpaper and finally finishing up with the Scotch-Brite. And these are looking pretty sweet. So I'm going to get this place cleaned up and then see what's next. So I got those pieces I was working on all clecoed together. And now we're going to go through, there's probably, I don't know, 3-4 dozen holes. They're clamped together. We're going to match drill the ones that are exposed, move all the clecos, match drill the rest, and then the holes will be final sized for rivets. We're not even close to riveting, but we're going to go ahead and get everything assembled and then countersunk, dimpled, taken apart, much like that practice kit before. Okay, so I've got this all drilled out, and this is the center bearing and center hinge that the elevator is going to hang on. It's apparently going to be some of the first pieces I rivet together. Everything else here is going to have to get disassembled and primered. This internal bit they want you to rivet sooner, which means I have to prime just this. Okay, so while the little flange is in there drying, I'm going to move on to the next spot. I'm seeing what some people have noted about discrepancies from instructions to plans to parts here, but it doesn't seem too bad. I'm sure I'll get it figured out. We're going to take some doublers. This piece has a lot more holes than what's shown on the plans, and it sounds like the first step is to try and draw out and map out these holes. My guess is I can just omit that but I'll keep it in mind in case I'm missing something. Right now I just got to cut them apart, much like the practice kit, and then we'll deburr and see where we go from there. And now we're going to set our very first rivets. There we are. That's pretty exciting. Kind of. I wanted to stop for a moment and just explain a little bit about what I'm working on. Right now, I'm working on making the vertical stabilizer, which is this whole front piece here. And more specifically, what I've just finished is the spar that goes in back, right between the horizontal stabilizer and the elevator. And what is on the table in front of me is the forward spar that is right in the middle of this structure here. With the RV-7, the vertical stabilizer has some taper to it. It's one of the features that I really liked about the aircraft. There are models that have sort of just a broad plank-like horizontal stabilizer. And to me, this looks much more aerodynamic, much more sporty, and it's one of the reasons I fell in love with it. It's also, it turns out, one of the reasons it's a pain in the ass to build. All of those angles come into play, and here on this vertical stabilizer, I'm now having to bend a bunch of parts at a 5 degree, I think it is, or 6 degree angle, and hope that they're all exact and line up so that I don't have to make a bunch of adjustments. So what am I doing? Essentially we're going from this to this. We've got to elongate the holes trim off some extra meat here and get it ready to bend this to make that sweeping, that tapered leading edge that I had mentioned earlier, that I'm starting to rethink liking so much. I got these two mostly there. They're not fully deburred, but we'll get that done before priming. Now I've got to make this bend. You probably saw me make a template out of normal cardboard. It's a little too spongy and not crisp enough, so we did that exercise twice. I got something that I think is going to work a little better. The instructions say to use the flattening pliers that I have, or blocks of wood. And I'm thinking blocks of wood is a better choice here. So I'm gonna take some scrap wood and make something that I can clamp into place on these bend lines, and then put in that 6 degrees of bend that I love so much. Thousands of dollars of aircraft tools, and I got wooden blocks. I got my 6 degrees bent into these, and then now it's having me put some spar doublers in here. Also, one thing I'm going to start doing is being careful to build a left and a right hand. Back in model planes, I'm pretty sure when I was younger, me and my dad built 2 left wings. I don't want to do that on this one. Alright, so I got the braces that were clecoed with that off, and I measured out where we have to take off. So this is big and clunky, they want it streamlined, and so I made some careful measurements. take it over the bandsaw, then the angle grinder, and then we'll do the same thing we did to the spar stiffeners, which is radius everything, make it nice and smooth, sand the whole thing, and go from there. Now I have to take these and put that same 6-degree bend in the tapered section of each one. Have I mentioned how much I love that the tail is tapered yet? I think that's as good of a place as any to end it. Please tune in next time where we will continue finishing the horizontal stabilizer, getting it completed, and then moving on to other control surfaces and parts of the empennage. If you have a moment, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.